All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Gimme 5. And on this Friday, I promise I will leave you with something that will stick in your head all weekend long. Stick around to the end of this segment and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But first, I want to bring you something that I think is very important. One of the things Barack Obama should be most remembered for is the fact that he has trashed this great country over and over and over again, especially when he's overseas or in front of the United Nations. He just loves doing it. It's because that's who he is, and that's how he really feels. And he feels unfettered for some reason, especially overseas, to trash us. And here are some great examples of it.
We didn't think through all the implications of what we did. You know, when you see the dropping of cluster bombs, trying to figure out how that was going to be effective, particularly since part of the job was to win over hearts and minds. With the benefit of hindsight, we'd have to say that a lot of those consequences were not ones that served our interests.
Right. We're dropping cluster bombs. And of course, the way we've treated Native Americans in the environment just is awful. Watch.
The way that Native Americans were treated was tragic.
We're a nation that was founded on the belief in the dignity of every human being. Sometimes we've struggled to stay true to that belief.
If you see the environment destroyed, it's not because that's necessary for development. It's usually because we're being lazy. Look, the United States is still learning how to do this, and we've been at it a long time. But we used to have terrible pollution everywhere.
We're lazy. We treated the the Indians and Native Americans like garbage. We're just bad. We are bad. I hearken back to Michelle Obama's stump speech. And don't be fooled by this Michelle Obama you see up on the stage, feigning indignation and horror over the Trump tape and all these accusations, when she's invited rappers who are at the very least misogynist and anti-cop, espousing violence against cops. So please, spare us. But Michelle Obama in 2008, New Yorker magazine, cover story, I think it was March of '08. I've had this forever, and I've referenced it forever. She said America is a downright mean nation. Every time you try to lift yourself up, we push you back down. That's the Michelle Obama. This is Barack Obama. It's what they believe. It has nothing to do with skin color, at least maybe it does on their end. Not on my end criticizing them. But that's who they are. That's who they are. Oh, you want more from Obama? There's plenty more.
Given our history here, I believe that the United States has a moral obligation to help Laos heal. For 9 years, there was a secret war in which the United States was dropping bombs on this country. As a result of that conflict and its aftermath, many people fled or were driven from their homes.
The United States dropped more bombs on Laos than Germany and Japan during World War II.
Yeah, and he's saying this while he's in Laos, okay? Trashing us. You know, he wanted to go to Japan and apologize for Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and the Japanese said no. I mean, my God, how many American lives were saved? How many Allied lives were saved? How many hundreds of thousands by dropping those bombs? It was a war. And he wants to apologize for that. And they said no. So that's who he is. Here's more.
The United States dropped more than 2 million tons of bombs here in Laos.
You can see some of these displays showing everything that landed on relatively simple homes like this.
As one Laotian said, the bombs fell like rain. Villages and entire valleys were obliterated. The ancient plain of jars was devastated. Countless civilians were killed.
And who's to blame? The evil United States. Whenever he's away from home, watch for it, or at the United Nations, he trashes us like we're garbage. Now, Clarence Thomas spoke at the Heritage Foundation the other day, and although he was criticizing the climate, political climate in this country, he's far from doing what Barack Obama has done. And he was sitting in Washington, D.C. He wasn't in Laos at the time. Here's what Clarence Thomas said about the climate and our institutions.
There's always hope, but this city is broken in some ways. I've been here now most of my life now, And I think that we have become very comfortable with not thinking things through and debating things. That's one of the things I love about the court. You can actually talk to people about things.
Yeah. I love hearing him talk because he really very rarely, as most of the Supreme Court justices, very rarely give interviews, but he's got nothing to plug there that I know of. He's just doing for the Heritage Foundation. Here's more.
And I think that we have decided that rather than confront the disagreements and the differences of opinion, we'll just simply annihilate the person who disagrees with me. I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that's going to work in a republic or in a civil society.
Yeah, well, it could be better, that's for sure. And then he talks about the climate, how it relates to him and the Supreme Court.
At some point, we have got to recognize that we're destroying our institutions and we're undermining our institutions. And we're going to destroy them, but the day's going to come, if it's not already here, when we need the institution and the integrity of the institution. So even when you disagree with people, you notice in my opinions, I don't attack personally my colleagues. I disagree with them strongly because I think it's important for me to leave them standing and to leave the institution standing and to sharply have the contrast and the points of view.
Yep, all right, very taking the high ground, and he's always taken the high ground, even during his high-tech lynching during confirmation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I promised you to leave you with something that will stay in your head for the entire weekend. We played this during the primaries. We're bringing it out today. Thanks for watching, everybody. Sit back and enjoy this great parody.
Mr. Trump, you've called women you don't like fat pigs, slobs, dogs, and disgusting animals. What do you have to say about that?
Trump said hello, I think I'm going to run. But he said that before and it was only just for fun. They said he'd never disclose his funds, but when he finally did, the establishment was stunned. He's Trump, he's in your head. He's Trump, a Republican. In the first debate, Trump was singled out. They said he'd eat his words, but he ended all their doubts. 24 million people tuned in. That never could have happened if it wasn't for him. He's Trump, he's in your head. He's Trump, is that what he said?
I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. They're losers. They're just losers. I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I'm really, really, really rich. Somebody's doing the raping, Don. I will build a great, great wall. You're fired, you're fired, you're fired.
Trump has made a few questionable quotes, but that's because he has no fear of rocking the boat. He's got a wife that's a perfect 10. Is he going to make America great again? He's Trump, he's in the lead? He's Trump, will he succeed? Can Donald Trump be president? I think so. Can Donald Trump be president? I think so. Can Donald Trump be president? I think so. Can Donald Trump be president? I think so.
That's it? That's a wrap. Thanks.